Welcome to the Fruitful Faith Women on Mission podcast. This podcast is created for purpose-driven women just like you who crave more. On the Fruitful Faith podcast, you can expect Christ-centered conversations that will help you to cultivate a life that you and He love. We'll be talking about topics that matter, topics that impact your everyday life. We'll talk about anything from how to transition with grace, to what to do when you're overwhelmed, to how to be content and joyful right where God's got you. It's going to be good. Let's dive on in. Well, hey, and welcome back to the Grace-Based Christian Coaching Fruitful Faith Women on Mission podcast. I'm Alexandra Cavill. I'm a certified professional life coach for Christian women, specifically purpose-driven women who crave more. And today we're resuming the goal-setting series to talk about the final topic, and that is the topic of fitness. And so when we think about fitness, there are a few different ways that you can kind of consider that. You can think about fitness in regards to physical fitness. Maybe you can think about it in regards to nutrition, what you're putting in your body, not just the output. Or maybe even you think of mental wellness when you think of fitness. And those are all, right, if you will. But for today's conversation, to kind of give us some guardrails, I'm going to be focusing primarily on the topic of physical fitness. So as we think about fitness, I kind of want to bring up a throwback model, if you will, to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if you took any psychology course when you were going through college, you probably are familiar with this pyramid diagram, if you will. If not, just look it up. Super simple, and I'll kind of go through it at a high level right now. So what it talks about is that our basic needs, they have to be met in order for us to do higher level things, if you will. So what's at the bottom of the pyramid, those are our physiological needs. So things like food, water, shelter, sleep, those sorts of things. And then comes safety needs, things like employment, security, health, those sorts of topics, if you will. From there comes love and belonging, like intimacy, friendship, connection. And then above that is esteem. So our recognition, our self-esteem, our respect. And then what we all desire to have is that self-actualization, to become the most that you can be, right? And that's a lot of what we work through at Grace-Based Christian Coaching. So it's kind of interesting that the last topic, maybe we could have done this in an opposite way, is kind of at the bottom of that pyramid. But all that to say, it's so important for our physical health, for our fitness to be in a good place, in order for the things above it, like love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization, to really be realized and recognized effectively. So as we think about fitness, I think a good place to start is always God's word. And so there are a few different scriptures that might speak to you on fitness that I'd like to read for you as we kick off. There are three. So one is 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. And it says, "Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you are bought with a price. So glorify God in your body." 1 Corinthians 3:16-17 says, Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him. For God's temple is holy, and you are that temple. And then 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God." So hopefully one or two of these are super powerful to you. The Bible talks about our bodies. It talks about it in connection to the Lord. It might be just eye-opening or powerful for you when maybe you have questions or doubts or having a hard time with this, to really just go back to, what does truth say? How is this important? Why is this important? So as we kick off, as we'll usually do, we'll go through some coaching questions on the topic of fitness. And then I'm going to share with you a couple of behind the scenes of what my past and current fitness goals have been, just in hopes that it might get your wheels turning or spark something inside of you if this is an area that you'd like to see some growth or progress on personally. Okay, so as we get started with the coaching portion, so when you think about fitness, you might want to consider, where do you need to focus most right now? Consider what might be lacking in the biggest way in regards to fitness. Maybe you haven't moved your body outside of walking around the house these past several weeks with quarantine, which is tough. Maybe cardio. Cardio is easy. It's no biggie for you, but perhaps strength training, that's a gap in an area where you're lacking. So think too, for you personally, what is it in regards to fitness that's lacking? What are you missing in the biggest way? And then when you experience change in this area, what will it give you? So if you build in more strength training, if you build in time outside, what's that going to do for you? Maybe, it's physical, but perhaps it's even more mental health wise, right? I know personally, that's the bigger reason why I tend to get out of the house for walks these days. It just makes me feel mentally so much better once I do that. Or maybe you are just so tired of your clothes feeling tight and uncomfortable. And maybe when you experience some change, you are just going to feel so much more confident and comfortable in your clothes. Or maybe when you focus on one of these areas of fitness, you're just going to have reduced brain fog. You're going to feel more clear and alert. And that just sounds priceless for you right now. So, as you think about what's missing, consider what are 3 ideas that might help you to make progress with your fitness routine. 3 or even more if you're an idea person, maybe it's 3 to 5. What are some ideas to help you make progress? So, think about that, brainstorm that for a second. Perhaps it looks like regular walks. Maybe your lunch break becomes a walk break. Maybe it looks like finding, perhaps an hour workout is daunting. And maybe it's just simply 15 or 20-minute videos on YouTube. Perhaps that's a fit. If you're really short on time, from the days that I was in consulting, traveling all around, working long hours, very, very difficult lifestyle. One of the things that I learned from fellow consultants was a video called the 7-minute workout. Highly, highly recommend looking this up and doing this if you haven't already. It's simple, but it's effective. And if you're anything like me, if you haven't worked out, thankfully I am better on the workout train right now, but if you haven't worked out in a while, which I've also been there, you might even feel a little bit sore after this workout, but super effective. And even just short bursts get you in a different space mentally. It might even give you the momentum and energy that you need to make even more progress. So check that out if you haven't already. Or maybe another idea is meal planning. Perhaps it's just getting organized, getting an idea list of what you're going to prepare during a week, and actually creating your grocery list based off of that. So there's some different ideas. Hopefully you've got a few of your own. And as you think or look at this list, consider yourself, what's one thing you will do? All of those ideas you can do, but circle or star that item that you will commit to doing. And then consider, how often would you like to do it? What might be a good fit? So maybe if you want to work out, maybe it's 3 times a week. Maybe you want to cook dinner, but right now that seems like a massive stretch. Maybe it's twice a week. So think about whatever your one goal is. How often would you like to commit to doing that? And then consider what's going to be the minimum. So, this is a hard time. We want to be gentle and flexible with ourselves, but we still want to grow, right? And it might be helpful to say, here's the bare minimum. So maybe it looks like instead of cooking twice a week, maybe it's starting with once a week on a weekend. What is your minimum for whatever that goal is? And then who are you going to share this with? It's so important for our goals, one, for them to be articulated. Maybe it's on paper. That is massive. But another really big and powerful step is sharing it aloud. When we do that, it gives it life and it makes it real. So who are you going to share this goal with? And then how might you ask them to follow up with you on what cadence and what consistency would be most helpful? And then a couple other thoughts are, what might be a powerful reward if you do this thing? What would be motivating? So maybe if it's from a fitness perspective, Maybe you just haven't gotten a new swimsuit in years, and it is time. And this would feel like a really good reward if you actually followed your goal to do that. Or maybe I've also heard of the idea of, more of consequences than rewards. So maybe if you're more motivated by that side of things than positive reinforcement, that could be an idea. I even heard of the reverse charity challenge idea. That's personally been super motivating. My husband went through a challenge with weight loss, and I think he was going to plan to donate a pretty decent amount to a sports team that he despised. So, if that might be powerful for you, what is that consequence that you want to consider if you do not meet this goal? And then maybe it's a reward or consequence, or maybe it's something else. But think about what's going to make this fun. What's going to make it exciting? So, maybe it's doing it with a friend. Maybe it's wearing your favorite workout gear as you do it. Maybe it's, treating yourself once a month to shop at a grocery store that you really love. Whatever it is, how might you make this fun and exciting? Now could be such a great time to get started. We all have some additional time and space to devote to our fitness. And so I'd really encourage you, as Laura Casey of Cultivate What Matters says, a year ago from now, you'll have wished you would have started today. So I'll give you that quote and those words as we kind of wrap up with the coaching portion of today's goal setting series on fitness. So as we transition to the next portion of the episode, what I'll do as per usual is share some current goals and then some goals that I've completed in case it's helpful in generating any ideas for you. So kind of where I'm at personally is I'm working to just move my body 4 or 5 times a week. That feels like a fit right now. And especially, like I had said, just for mental health reasons, to get out of the house, get some fresh air, and get my blood pumping. So previously, before the quarantine, this had looked like going to the gym about 4 times a week. And what was especially helpful was not only planning out the days that I was going to do that, but actually planning out the times and the specific classes or exercises. That was a game changer. Looking at the month ahead and putting it on the calendar, that was huge. And so maybe what it looks like in today's day and age is perhaps thinking like if you want a mix of cardio and strength, being aware of that and putting those appointments on your calendar and writing in them what exactly you're going to do at that time. So when you get to that time, the dread might already be there, let's be honest, but you at least have a plan. Maybe you put into the invite or on your planner the exact workout that you're going to do. So once you get there, you don't have to take more effort to look for something. It's already planned. You did a favor for your future self. Another one is simple, but it's breathing. It's pausing. So this has been a really big fitness goal for me. And then one that I actually am continuing to work towards is just creating space. Because for someone where go, 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 or do feels so natural and easy and good, just recognizing there's actually a lot of benefit from just taking a moment to sit outside, hear the birds chirping, or breathe. That can pay dividends. And then last but not least is cooking more. So that's actually a peek inside something that I feel like I'm missing that gene. Just don't get a lot of joy out of that. But I know that that's important and it's something that I'd like to improve on. So that's an area where I would like to lean into a little bit more and kind of like I'd shared earlier, thinking, well, a weekend that just has more space and not a lot of demands might be a good time to try something new. And maybe it's not doing it, yourself. Thinking maybe it's before the quarantine, my friend and I started to get creative of, what could we do? What would be fun things to, put on our agenda for getting together? And one was cooking. And it just feels so much different and approachable when you're doing it with someone else. So maybe it's a friend, maybe it's your spouse, just thinking about what that could look like. And then a couple of other goals that I've completed in regards to fitness that might encourage you. One is, again, when the time is right, finding a gym. So maybe one works for you in one season and just doesn't in another. Maybe you're getting tired of certain classes, even if they're online. Perhaps it's time to change it up, and that's okay. But really, the encouragement here is to just be persistent and just notice that just because one thing isn't working for you doesn't mean that everything's not going to work for you, right? Um, Another period of time when I was not looking to make the extra effort to go to the gym, but still wanted a good workout in, I had really enjoyed Beachbody. I'm not personally affiliated with them, but really enjoyed some of the classes through there. Especially they have, I believe, have a turbo kick and a plyo, so kind of combo Pilates yoga that I found really, really fun. And some dance classes too. So just a 21-day fitness challenge, all sorts of things. I love the variety through them of workout type, the length of time, all of that. So that might be an option to consider if you're looking for an at-home option. Another one is a personal training session. So I personally can have a lot of issues with my neck and back that makes some simple exercises really difficult, unfortunately. And so I was just looking to meet up and connect with someone who could provide really customized exercises. And that was just such a powerful thing. It was something that, I would love to do regularly. Personally, that's not a fit for me. But to be able to kind of get the baseline and write down a different set of exercises that I can kind of do on my own for quite a bit and then kind of come back and reassess has been an investment that I've been really grateful to make, and I think was an important one. Another one is maybe it's not just the gym or fitness classes, but maybe it's different types of sports, if you will. And personally, I grew up playing tennis, which was so much fun. It's such a great exercise, and ended up going to some group classes with friends, which was amazing. And so that's something else. Maybe you want to take lessons or do a class or just even hit around on your local court to really change it up. And then a few more are, again, fitness can look really different. Like I mentioned, maybe you suffer with certain pains or discomforts. Again, mine's in my neck and back. And so a continued goal really for me is physical therapy exercises. So to do that regularly. So maybe fitness, it looks like stretching, which sounds crazy, but it's so important. Those things are so, so important too. And then kind of related to that, simple sounds silly, but life-changing was to switch from my massive tote bag with all of the things stuffed in to a crossbody with the essentials. Mind blown that happened. Never thought that could be a possibility, but that has made a massive, massive change. And so maybe think about, maybe it's your workstation. Maybe it's investing in some sort of a standing desk. Maybe it's setting an alarm to walk and take a break for 5 minutes every hour. What small changes might you need to make if you struggle with certain chronic pain as well? And then last but not least, I had previously, a couple years back, met with a nutritionist. So to be able to get blood work done, be able to share, personal things that were easy or personal things that were hard and get some specific advice or recommendations for that was really fascinating. And so if that's something that you're considering or now is on your radar, I would definitely recommend that too. So there you have it. We just broke down the topic of fitness and the last big topic in our goal setting series. So I hope that this was powerful for you. I hope it maybe rewired some sort of path in your brain and got you thinking differently about something that you have otherwise, and just excited that there's so much potential and possibility in this topic. And I really hope with it, us heading into late spring, summer, that you find one of your fitness goals and just make the best progress on that coming up. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Fruitful Faith Women on Mission podcast. If you love this episode or any others, please to go ahead and take a screenshot, and I would love for you to share on social media. And it'd be great if you could tag me. So I'm at Grace Space Christian Coaching, GRACESPACE Christian Coaching, so that I can see which episodes you love best and repost the story to my account too. Till next time. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Fruitful Faith Women on Mission podcast. If you love this episode, I would love for you to subscribe. New episodes will automatically show up on your phone when you subscribe. It's super convenient and you'll make sure you never miss a thing. So excited to share more with you soon.